You know, I have I have been sitting on this story all week. This is one of those situations where I wanted to give it a little bit of time to breathe, some time to play out. We are living in this era of the overreaction, and to be completely fair, both sides are guilty of doing this. We are living in this era where something that seems so minor, something that in the grand scheme of things should not really matter, that thing gets completely blown out of proportion. It gets turned into something that it's not. It gets used as another tool to further this twisted narrative of mythical misogyny. This narrative that women are somehow victims simply because they were born without the proper equipment to fill a tuck friendly bathing suit. I spend a lot of time reading. I consume a lot of information every day. I talk for hours every week here on the channel. I've got to stay on top of the news. I had to keep things fresh. Otherwise, you guys are going to get bored and move on. One of the ways I keep things fresh, it's constantly reading, constantly learning, looking for situations, real life situations that have nothing to do with sports and finding a way to make that situation relate to sports. One of the areas I focus on sometimes is psychology, studying human behavior. Women Women are one of the greatest unsolved mysteries in the history of mankind. The psychological community, they have been studying women for centuries. No one can figure them out. I think most men, as we get older, we just give up trying. And before anyone gets in their feelings, I'm not saying this is a bad thing. It's just the way God made women. I'm sure he had a good reason for doing so. When I am reading articles on psychology or when I'm scrolling through Reddit forums, one of the biggest complaints that I see from women is the lack of real men. Where did all the real men go? How come I can't find a real man? Well, one of the reasons that some women can't find a real man, they're trying to be one. And I'm not talking about physically, I'm talking mentally. Society has groomed a generation of women to take on the role of the leader. Society has groomed a generation of women to view real men as toxic masculinity. At the same time, society has completely neutered masculinity. We are teaching men to be sensitive. We are teaching men to fall back and follow the lead of women. Let me ask you something. How is that system working out? The media is claiming that divorce rates are the lowest they've been in years. You want to know why? People aren't getting married. There are more single men, single women in America today over the age of 30 than any other time in this country's history. There are millions of men who are single by choice. Why? I'm not a psychologist, but maybe, just maybe, some men have come to the conclusion that it's just not worth it anymore. The courts are designed to absolutely cripple men during a divorce. Government programs are designed to influence couples not to get married. Women are told that they don't need a man. Men are told marriage isn't worth it. And it's designed this way to destroy the nuclear family. Last weekend, the beautiful women of Spain, they defeated England to win the World Cup. The championship, though, that is not the topic of conversation throughout the mainstream media. I shared with you guys earlier this week how some in the British media were focused on the lack of diversity on their team. This is not a true representation of England. How come all of our players are white? Where are the women with beards? Well, one of those was representing America, and thankfully, retired. The media is also focusing on something that happened during the presentation of the World Cup trophy. This is egregious. Children were exposed to misogyny on a global stage. Oh, the children. It's always about the children. Luis Rubiales, I think that's how you pronounce his name, Luis Rubiales. He is the president of the Royal Spanish Football Federation. Now, if I had to compare his position, I guess it would be like the Roger Goodell or the Adam Silver for women's soccer in Spain. During the ceremony, all the Spanish women, they were being called to the stage to accept their gold medals. Luis Rubiales, he was standing at the end of the podium, hugging and congratulating the players as they walked off stage. Some players he gave a hug to, some he kissed on the cheek. It was an emotional moment, a celebratory moment. Jenni Hermoso, she was given her gold medal, walked to the end of the stage to embrace Luis Rubiales. Now, this is the moment Megan Rapinoe and the mainstream media are pretending is some heinous crime against women. I muted the sound because it's in Spanish, but watch for yourself. Okay, full transparency here. I don't know the dynamics of this relationship between Luis Rubiales and Jenni Hermoso. Hell, I had never heard of either one of them until the Megster blew this out of proportion. I don't even know if a relationship exists between them, whether it's business or personal. But to me, this kiss seemed innocent. It didn't appear to me like he was trying to assault her. Didn't appear to me like he was forcing her against her will. Didn't appear to me like there was anything sexual about it. Different cultures have different norms. There are some cultures where a kiss is almost like a handshake. It's simply the way people greet each other. Now, if I'm Luis Rubiales, would I have done the same thing? Absolutely not. But that doesn't mean there was malicious intent with this kiss. The guy was caught up in the moment. They were celebrating winning the World Cup. Maybe he got carried away. According to Luis Rubiales, this gesture was mutual and consensual. According to a statement that was released by the Royal Spanish Football Federation shortly after the game, Jenni Hermoso claimed that this celebratory kiss was mutual. It was consensual. It was okay. Now, that should have been end of story, right? Granted, to be fair, it is entirely possible that the Federation was trying to save face here. It's entirely possible that Jenni Hermoso never said that. Also possible that she did. We'll never know. But it's strange. Jenni Hermoso didn't seem to have a problem with this until it was blown up by the mainstream media. Now, all of a sudden, she's speaking through a union. My union will handle this for me. My union will tell you what I am thinking while also telling me how I'm supposed to think. According to Megan Rapinoe, Jenni Hermoso was physically assaulted. This was harassment on the biggest stage. When Jenni should be celebrating, she becomes the victim of misogyny. I do have some good news for the Megster. She will never have to worry about finding herself in the same situation. Not because she's retired. The Megster will never be in this situation because no self-respecting man is ever going to kiss her. From what I gathered through my little bit of research, kissing on the cheek is an acceptable greeting in Spain. Now, I couldn't find any information where kissing on the lips is acceptable. Was Luis Rubiales out of line here? As the president of the Royal Spanish Football Federation, should he have known better? Absolutely. I mean, come on. You've got the entire world watching. You are living in this era of heightened sensitivity. This dude in his position, he should have known better. Now, with that being said, does that make him a misogynist? Does that mean he has some deep-seated hatred against women? Does that mean he should lose his job? No! All week, the global media has been pressuring Luis Rubiales to step down from his role as president of the Federation. What was his response? Fuck you. Well, I mean, he was a bit more professional with his response, but that was the gist of it. Luis Rubiales, he is refusing to step down from his role as president. So the women of Spain, they have come together and they are now refusing to play. The women of Spain are united. We are refusing to play until Luis Rubiales resigns. We are doing this in the name of equality. Equality? Equality? What the hell does equality have to do with this? And to be honest with you, what the hell does Megan Rapinoe have to do with this? I told you guys, the Megster was not going away. I told you, she's now got all the time in the world to be a professional activist. The truth is, Luis Rubiales made a mistake. He got caught up in the moment. He was celebrating winning the World Cup. He kissed a player on the lips. Whether it was consensual or not doesn't matter. We'll never know if it was, but that really doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is the optics. Luis Rubiales should have known better. He should have known. Men are always going to be a target in a situation like this. But just because he made a mistake doesn't mean he should be forced to resign. It doesn't mean he should be canceled. Correct me if I'm wrong. This entire summer, haven't deacons at Woke United Methodist been complaining about cancel culture? Haven't they been defending Bud Light against cancel culture? Haven't they been defending Target against cancel culture? Haven't they claimed that there is this mythical war going on to cancel the LGBT? All of a sudden, when they get the opportunity to cancel a toxically masculine white male, cancel culture is suddenly acceptable. I also find it strange that Megan Rapinoe is quick to come to the defense of women when the situation furthers her narrative. The Megster is quick to defend women against toxic masculinity. The Megster rapidly comes to the defense of women when she can twist the narrative into misogyny. But how come Meg doesn't defend women when biological men are invading women's sports? Where in the hell was Meg Rapinoe when Leah Thomas was stealing NCAA championships? And it's not just the Megster. The mainstream media is the same way. Remember 15, maybe 20 years ago, the media was crucifying Barry Bonds, Roger Clemens for using steroids to enhance their baseball careers. You guys remember that? The media accused them of cheating. They claimed the use of PEDs wasn't fair to athletes that were clean. In my personal opinion, there is no greater performance enhancing drug than human biology. How come the media thinks PEDs are cheating, but when a man chooses to identify as a woman, dominates women's sports, the media doesn't call that cheating, they call it progress. Give me your thoughts. Meg Rapinoe, mainstream media, accused Luis Rubiales of misogyny and harassment over what seemed to be an innocent kiss. Now, I'm not saying that makes it right. I'm just saying it didn't appear to be malicious or harassment to me. But what about you? What do you think? Do you think Luis Rubiales was malicious here? Should he be forced to resign? I mean, I think he's going to have to resign, but that doesn't mean I agree with it. Doesn't make it right. But give me your thoughts. Sound off in the comments below. Make sure to like and subscribe. Click the notification bell to receive all notifications from the channel. Best way to contact me is by email at btlkc84@gmail.com, KC_BTL84 on Twitter. I'll see you guys tomorrow.